Hey, everybody. So, for those who are watching, do let me know if you can hear me just fine. I think everything's working just fine. Bit of a sunny day today in Los Angeles. So here we are today for Adobe Express tips and tricks. So just sharing some Adobe Express tips and tricks, get you up to speed. So bring your questions if you're watching live. And then for those who will be watching the recording afterwards on my YouTube, feel free to type your questions in the comments section underneath. So yes, here I am. Adobe Express tips and tricks. Okay, people coming in. So let me just go over, share my screen, jump right in. Okay, so here I am in Adobe Express. So the first thing you'll know is you can get to Express at express.adobe.com over here. And I usually start off in the home page. So here I'm home. So when I'm in home view, you can see that you can start right from the get-go with a custom size where you can click on that. I don't want to do that necessarily now, but one thing that's really nice is if you go to popular, there's 1x1 square, Instagram story, Facebook, YouTube, poster, landscape, social post. You have all the Instagram, different sizes, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, make that thumbnail, cover image, LinkedIn, blog post, Snapchat, Twitter, print. That would be more like 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17. Yep. And then social profile. These are for all your kind of like cover banners for the different ones, which is nice because they have social post for individual ones, but the social profile takes you right to that kind of template sizes, standard, just general sizes, and then back to custom. So I don't necessarily want to do that because there's some really great templates. So I'm just going to hit the top right X, get back, and you'll see that they're already suggesting different things. So flyer, poster, Instagram post, Instagram story, Facebook post, YouTube thumbnail, right there from the get-go. And then there's also, quick actions if you wanted to bring something in and remove a background, resize an image, convert a MP4 to GIF, or I believe maybe convert a GIF to MP4, trim video, resize video, etc. And then there's suggested templates for you as you scroll down, seasonal highlights. So they're focusing on the different seasons and holidays. And then start from popular templates. So there's ones that maybe have been used the most. And then a whole series of posters, which is pretty cool. That looks great. I like that one. And then as you can see at the bottom under recent, there's a grouping of different ones that I've worked on recently, which you can also get to when you go to your projects tab. So here's your projects tab. There is the cover I did for the YouTube itself. And if I click on that, you can edit the project. If you go to the top right, you can also make a template from it or duplicate it to then work on another variation of that design. You can rename it, download it, delete. So it's quite nice, easy. And for brands, you can set up your own branding that you can add to your different designs. And then under libraries, you can create a library of like your designs and watermarks. And then scheduling, if you click on that, that'll let you connect to social channels, and then you can schedule your posts. So from instead of today, it could be Wednesday or Friday. I don't want to do that, so I'm just jump out, but just to let you know. And then if you go to learn, it's quite nice grouping of tutorials. So anything from grouping objects to removing backgrounds, add a brand to any template. If you hit the view all tab, then it opens up its own tab with getting started, and then there's those varieties. And then it gets a little bit more advanced, such as working with text and curved text, text effects, quick inspiration. Pretty nice. So as an example, if I start off here in home and I'm looking around and I say, search for templates. So I don't know, I'm just going to type in whatever, fantasy or something. When you do that, you get at least 109 templates just for fantasy. This is kind of nice. A whole bunch of different nice kind of styles. Kind of like this. So if I click on it, just start from, this is like a dream. And then if I go over, well, if you look at the left, you'll see that there's also different kind of text that you can click on and then add these different stylizations of text. And you can scroll down. So you have kind of traditional, something that might be more appropriate for a restaurant. And then you have ones that are more kind of like, special occasion or holidays. And hot tip. So there's quite the variety. And then you just scroll down and you can keep seeing the different kind of suggested text. Pretty nice, And of course, anything that you click on, you can change the text. So, lots of varieties, quite nice. So what I tend to do is I'll go over here. So the minute I click on it, I see that there's options on the right. And if I click off, there's also these other options. So when you click on, it's like image or design specific. And so you can remove the background, replace the background, delete the background. If you add it to the background, it usually resizes if it's a photo. See, so before it showed it like not taking up the whole space. And then the minute I clicked on add to background, it kind of resizes and fits it nicely. And then you can zoom in, zoom out as well. And you can also rotate, which I'm not going to necessarily do now, but you can rotate the design. And then there's different like filters, enhancements, blur, but I'll get into that in a bit. So what I tend to do is I'll click out and then I'll have these colors, animation, layout, resize, and design options. Let's make sure I'm not missing any comments. It's a funny comment in LinkedIn, but he was swearing, so I can't post it. But, good to see you here, Sapphira. Someone from Facebook too, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so in this sense, I have the design, and then I always want to make sure that it's set to Instagram is what I tend to like. I like the square format, and I like 1080 by 1080. It's already there, but in general, I could click on this and reformat it to that size, or Instagram portrait, landscape, Facebook, like cover, Pinterest, YouTube thumbnail, etc. Now, just to let you know, if I were to click on, say, Instagram story, then it resizes like that. And then you'd have to kind of repopulate, resize the different elements to fit in that design. I'm just going to do a Command Z to get back. I'm back to Instagram. So in this case, I like the elements, but I want to see if I can ungroup it. Is this just one? I hope it's not just one, because I wanted to use like a dream, but I was hoping I could undo it because I have my own image I want to put behind. So that's one area I can move around, but this looks like it's one piece of art. That's too bad. Well, we'll see what I can do. If not, then I'll just kind of recreate the dream. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to bring in my own photo. So as you can see over here on the left, there's a section for photos. If I click on photos, there's a whole bunch of featured free photos. Then there's seasonal, flat lays, wellness, different themes, beauty and fashion, people. So you just click through and grab photos like that to put in the background. In this case, I have my own. So I just click on upload photo at the top. And then under today, a little fun with Adobe Firefly this morning. So got this image. So what will happen is at first, it just kind of comes in and then you can manually resize it. Or if you see the icon at the bottom, you can also rotate. So these corner points are for resizing, as you can see with the double arrow. Otherwise, the icon at the bottom is for rotating. So that's a nice little tip there. But in this case, I like this image, want it to be the background. So if I look over the right, I can just click on add to background, and then it becomes the background. So then in this case, if I wanted to utilize this design, let's just see what happens if I bring down the opacity. Yeah, I think it's just too busy. So what I'm going to do is just delete that altogether. And then I'm going to add my own text. So I just go up text here. And then, like I said before, you can just kind of scroll down. And then I have this text. And then, of course, it's not easily readable. So the minute I click on it, I can first change it, edit the text, top right. So instead of "you've got this," I'm going to say "dream." And then click on it again and go back to these. So then text color, click on it. Is it not letting me choose? It's interesting. I guess it's a stylized text. It's not letting me change the color of it. That's interesting. Okay, so get rid of that. There's plenty of options. So if that doesn't work, then I'm just looking for another text that I like the feel of. Just scrolling through. And then if I don't necessarily even like that text, I can go to text. Just say add your text. Double click to edit. Just type that in. And it has shape behind. So you'll see that over here it has shape, and then the clicked on. So just turn that off. And then I'm going to, for now, I'm going to make that white. So I'm just moving the cursor here in the color panel up to the top left. Or I think I can just type in F. How many Fs? 8, solid white. And then, as you can see here at the bottom, which is really nice, it even gives you font recommendations. So I can just kind of, if you click off, it looks like that. If you click on, you can see that, and you can scroll over. And if I hit explore more, it populates even more. So if I click on this one, I get that style. Go like that. And if you do Command Z, then you will go back step by step. So I like that. And then what I'm going to do is try a couple things. So first I like that. So I'm going to try shadow or outline. So first outline. I want like a blue. So I'm going to click here. When I do that and I click off, you can see there's a subtle blue outline. And then if you click on the arrow, you can expand it so you have more options. So that's a good tip. Don't be limited by what you see on the surface. So if you see like outline, it looks like this. If you see a suggested arrow, do click it. And then now you have options. So now you have the option of color. So I could change that to more of a kind of bright blue. And then if I wanted the outline to be larger, you can see it's at 11 right now. I can then kind of move it larger. Of course, that's too large. And bring it down. I kind of like it at 10 or 11. And you also have an option of transparent text. So now I might make the outline a little bit larger and bring that down. And then if you go to any corner point, like I said, you can resize the text or any other elements, like if you brought in any shapes. So I'm going to say life is a dream. And I'm not sure I'm a big fan of the color behind. So that's shape. So all I do is I click to expand, and then under shape, yeah. So then I just click on the color of the shape, and I'm going to make that more of a blue as well, maybe a little lighter blue. not green, blue. And then you can just click around to kind of get darkened option of that. So you can scroll through here to change the color very quickly, which is nice. And then once you're in there, you can move this around from the light blue to like a medium blue. And then as you go down, darker blue. I think the background shape is a little too strong. So click on it again. I just turn that off. And then what I think I'll do is just change the color of the text to that blue. And then, of course, when I click off, you'll see that it's not too readable, especially when it's located there. But if I bring it over here, it's a bit more readable. Just going to resize it down. But to make sure that it really pops, I'm going to go to, say, shadow. And then the shadow is set to that kind of burgundy. I'm going to make it a black. And then once again, like I said, if you click on the kind of like triangle, you expand, that's where you access the color of the shadow. And then you can change the angle. So I've been using 125 as a good angle for a drop shadow for years. And then under here, this is like the expanse of it. So if I go to the right, it's kind of a thicker drop shadow. If I go to the left, it's a thinner, kind of weaker. So I'm going to make it in between, maybe like 70. Yep. So click off. So life. It's a dream. Now, the one thing I also love about Adobe Express is when you click on, say, the text element, as you move this, you'll see a subtle red smart guide that pops up. So it shows you that when it's centered. So I can just kind of let go and it'll be right there. So let me go to this view. Yep. So here we are. I like this. Maybe move this up a little bit though. And then I want to kind of, even though it's pretty busy with the background image of the butterflies, the butterfly face, I like the idea of adding some elements. So on the left, you have all these different options. So if I go to shapes, I could type in clouds, hit return. You got all these different kind of shapes for clouds. So I'm just kind of scrolling through. So once I click on that, it shows up. And then it has that kind of color, which I don't necessarily like, but I can just go up to the top, resize it down. And then I'm going to bring it to like a lighter blue. And there's so many options that, you know, once I place that, I'm not stuck to that. I can delete that. I can go back and I can scroll through the different shapes for clouds. Maybe look for something else. This one. It's a little too, something that's a bit more organic looking. So just keep scrolling. Here's one little sun popping out. So yes. Safiria says, it reminds me of Canva. Of course, there's differences. Watching Andrew create live makes it clear. Thank you very much. I like that. I think I will screenshot that. That's a nice one. So yeah, it's similar to Canva. It's the same type of template-based design. The thing, though, is I think that Adobe is very tuned in with it and keeps adding great new features all the time. So I think they're always improving it. And as you can see with this image made with Adobe Firefly, I believe that they will be adding some AI or Adobe Firefly elements or options directly into Adobe Express in the future, which will make it even more exciting. Oh, these are fun. I like this. So here's like an outline, kind of almost like a Tibetan cloud. Reminds me of Tibetan style design. So I'm just going to resize that a little bit and then make that a light blue. Let me get rid of that. Just click on it, hit delete. And then I like that. Say I want to duplicate that. I can simply hold down my option key and drag. But just for the sake of tips and tricks, I can also go over here to this little panel. And as you see, when I hover, it says duplicate or Command D. So if I click that, it makes a duplicate. I can bring that down. Okay. And then when I put it, I don't want it to compete with the D of dream so much. So you'll notice over here, the bottom right, it says 5 and you see a stack. That is your layers panel. So the minute I click on that, I can then drag that underneath. And it's still kind of competing with it though. So maybe I'll just bring it on the edge, which I kind of like design wise. So bring that there. And then for this, I think I want to bring that up a bit more. Nice. And so that was just working with shapes. You just type in a certain topic or theme. Someone says, pretty, Andrew. Yeah, that's a good idea. Someone said, reduce the transparency. So here I am. I click on the shape. And then here you see on the right side, it says, 100%. So the minute I start pulling this back, it kind of reduces the transparency down to, say, 40% opacity. And then to kind of keep things organized, keep the design together, I might then bring this down to 40% for the clouds in the top right. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Thank you for the suggestion. So just to remind you, if you're watching from Facebook, please give StreamYard permission to show your name and profile pics so I'll be able to credit you when you comment or ask questions so I can know who made that good suggestion about changing the opacity. Thank you. Sarah. Thanks, Sarah. Okay. So yes. So I'm wondering if this is too similar, the two text colors. So I'd always click here, click on that first. And then of course it's too bright, but I can just click in the color panel here and kind of lighten it up. And that's a bit more complementary to the range of colors. And also the minute I click on it here, on the right side, you see under main style, tells you the font, and then there's the color. So I could click on text color and get back to that as well. I'm just going to pop it so it's a little bit brighter. Okay, so then one thing I'm thinking is, I was wondering if that would look good. It looks kind of awkward though. But as you can see, just by moving the bounding box around, you can change the alignment of your text. So here it is, a kind of horizontal, but then here it is more like kind of vertically aligned. I think it still reads better horizontally, but I'm just showing you that you have that option. And yeah, so I got the clouds, I got the text, I got the nice colorful image behind. Yeah, Zephyr says transparency makes things dreamier. Nice. And then just to review, let me show you this. So up in the top left, you'll see these different kind of like names that came up. It originally just says my project. The minute you click on that, you can title project, turn, and then it saves. It's being saved as you work, which is also great. So you don't have to worry in case you forget. And then, so during this design, I had just worked with shapes for the clouds, but now I'm going to go to design assets. And then I'm also going to just curious see what it has for clouds. Of course, you should spell it correctly. Hit clouds, hit return. So that's more kind of like graphic, the design assets. So it looks kind of like woodcuts. Pretty cool though. Like this one. So yeah, so I typed in that one. And then I get this cloud. So I got that cloud. Let's see. Kind of curious about filters. Yeah. So in the minute I go down to filters over here on the right under effects. It's set to current color is here. Once again, I can click and just change that color. I think a brighter blue, but I'm gonna probably change the opacity. But just so you know, once again, you click the down triangle, and then you have grayscale, darken, and you have these different colors, and then there's different kind of presets. So they choose, the color for you. You just kind of click around, which is nice. So say you're kind of working on a design, you feel a little bit stuck, you can just click on the different presets to just get different color combinations. In my case, I do like that bright blue, but while it's selected, I'm going to click again, and then I see that I have the opacity option, and I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Don't want it to get too busy, but I do want to show all the different kind of things that you can add to the design. Yeah, it is cool. It's so easy to design that it makes it pleasurable. Like, so instead of getting stumped by certain processes, you can just kind of really go with it and add new elements in a fun way. That might be too busy there, so maybe I'll bring it down here. And then you can see you can flip it horizontal. That doesn't really change it so much. Yeah. So that's cool. Nice. So I like that. And it's auto saving as you go. So one thing I always like to show is if I go over to animation, I can do a little text animation. So here's where it kind of types itself out. I kind of wish that it typed out life is a first, then dream. Dynamic. It's a little kind of chaotic. Flicker. Weird. Now, color shuffle is cool because when you do color shuffle, you'll notice that it's not just the text color that changes, but the shape elements are changing too. So the top right, top left. Yeah. I like that. I just wish that I could. So that might be one thing that I might suggest to the Adobe Express team is the idea of being able to change the order of what gets animated with text. Because this is the grow effect, which I like, but I wish it said life is a first and then dream. Yeah. Pretty cool. So yeah, so that's that. So I'm not sure if I'm sold on the text animation just because the order of the text is not the best. Though I like color shuffle, so I might use that. I wish Dream would shuffle too, though. And that might be another suggestion too, is the ability to decide what gets kind of shuffled in the animation. So maybe you just wanted to do a color shuffle of just the word dream. So yeah, life is a dream. Cool. And then so it's so easy to do. All you need to do to save is you just go up to the top right where it says download. And then I can say, let's just double check that the animation is the way I want. So yeah, let's go to animation. That's interesting. It's doing a color shuffle on the preview, but not on my design itself. So I want to make sure it's taking it. So you can click on, click off, just go back to animation and do, I'll click on that first, typewriter, then switch over to color shuffle. Okay, so there's color shuffle. So then when I go to download an MP4 and I say start download, then I know for sure it is taking that text animation feature that I want. Cool. And then, of course, I like it as a solid design. So I always, even if I have an animation, I'll go back to download, and you'll see that there's all these different options. So I will then choose PNG. And I've realized that PNG takes colors better than JPEG. I know it's debatable, but I've seen PNG to be take reds a little bit better without distortion, where JPEG, especially when you put on YouTube, the lettering will get kind of distorted. And then you just start download, and then you'll see that it downloads the MP4 and it downloads the PNG. And it usually defaults to your desktop. So yeah. Okay. So that's that. And then from here, I like to download, then I can say share. And then what I'd like to do is show you that one, you can publish to social media. You can schedule it to be posted to social media like in a day or 3 days or a week. You can invite someone to collaborate, and then you can make a template. So I want to make a template. So I'm just going to make a template. I'm just going to call it Dream. You can choose where it's saved to, a part of your library. So I have one that's designs and then watermark. So I'm just going to save it to designs. And here it says creating your template in the background. So I give that a little time. Great. And then I just go back to home. Thanks, Sarah. And then now I'm back to here, the general view. And so if I go to projects, you'll see that there's the last project, there's the cover for this event, and various other ones I've worked on recently. If I go down to libraries and I go to designs, click on manage, you'll see that these are all templates, and it even says the word template at the bottom. And then the minute you hover, it says create from, so you could open it up, create a new design based on that template, or you go to the top right and you can rename it, delete it, or get general details. So I'm just going back to home. So for those who are here, yeah, that's a good point too. Zafira says PNG also does handle transparency well. I believe if you did have a design with transparency in it, you would have the option to save as PNG with transparency, which is a great feature. Yep. So it's quite good. And so any suggestions for designs? Is there any theme that anyone wants to suggest to have fun doing design today? Let me know. Don't be shy. You can give me a topic, a theme in the comments. Is there a favorite theme or subject you like? Hands. I think she's being sarcastic from the Firefly post I made the other day, where I think it put 6 or 7 fingers. Kentucky Derby. That's interesting. When is that happening? So let me switch over view. So I'm back in Adobe Express. So let's see if that comes up. If not Kentucky Derby, then maybe horses, race, Kentucky Derby. So when I type in, there's at least 35 templates. And they're not exactly, like this says roller derby. So they're not exactly Kentucky Derby focused. There's Louisville, there's Kentucky bourbon tasting, so it does its best and it comes up with something associated, but not always the best. So maybe I'll just say horse race. Turn. 284 templates. So that's a bit more. Okay, so I just click on this one. I think Sarah's in the mood for the whole Kentucky Derby. She says mint julep. Oh, it was yesterday. Oh, sorry, I missed it. Used to watch that when I was younger. So, So here I am with the image. I click out and I see that there's these different options on the right. So I can just say resize. It's already kind of vertical, so it's suggesting like poster, print. Um, once again, I am a big fan of just the 1080 by 1080. So once I do that, it resizes and it still looks good. But I know that I want to switch this out. So if I hit replace, automatically on the left comes up photos. And then there's a whole bunch of different ones. I don't know why school came up, but I can just click that off and I can just say courses. And just kind of scroll through. There's a great variety. So I click on that, then that becomes the, we should say horse race though. Appropriate. So I'm still in, just kind of clicking. Okay, so I'm just clicking to see the variations. So I can click here, and then the minute I click over there on the right to add the background, it becomes the background. I don't want that effect. So I'm going to delete the cell. And then once I hit delete cell, which I've learned recently, if you get that divider, then it kind of takes up the whole background space. So now we have got an action pose, and then I can go here. And then for relay races, I can just type in Derby. And then if I go to the corner points, I can change the size. And then if I go over on the right, you'll see that there's edit text. So you can change the text itself. You can change the style. And then in alignments, so I want to align it centered. So Kentucky Derby. And then the color, let's see, this yellowish. All right, so I like that color, but it's blending in with some of the beige in the background. So I can just click on shadow, and then I click here for shadow color, and I can give it like a black. Offset it, bring that down. Nice. And then here, there's these different kind of text sections I can click on. So you were saying, Sarah, that it was yesterday, huh? So I'll just say the 6th, 2023. I'll bring that over there. And what is the Mage 1, she says. Good. And since you're here, Sarah, what is the name of the racetrack that it's at? Maybe it's always there. I don't know. I haven't followed in years, but instead of Eaton racetrack, what is the racetrack that it usually is at? It's like Kentucky Downs or something. Or let me know, Sarah. Where is the? No, Kentucky Downs. Churchill Downs. That's it. I remember Downs was. Is it Churchill or Churchill? Like Churchill. That's what I think. Yeah, maybe it's Churchill Downs. Churchill Downs racetrack. And as I pull it out, it becomes more the kind of horizontal. And I can just put it there. And then if I felt like the white was a little kind of subdued, I can give it a little bit of color. So I can even click here and get like a yellowish. Well, maybe I want more of an orange. Competes too much with the beige in the background. Maybe just white is best, kind of like an off-white. Maybe this I'll give like a different color though. So just click on the right, change to maybe a darker blue. Maybe bring this down. Yep. So Kentucky Derby. Churchill Downs, Kentucky Derby. Maj won. Is that how you say it? Maj? Okay. Any other design themes, topics? Just say relay races. So we're going to go up to the title area. Type in Kentucky Derby. And then I'm just going to click home, top left. Any other topics? So we can design, show you some tips and tricks. Like I said, it's quite nice with the, you have projects, so then everything gets saved. And then, you just simply click on edit project if you want to go back in. So you can edit any projects you've worked on recently. And then if you go to the top right, you can make it as a template. You can duplicate it so you can make sure you're not copying over or changing your original design. So in general, if you go to home, like I said, you can just scroll down and just kind of see what, different things they're suggesting as well. So I can click on flyers, just kind of like scroll through, click the right arrow, so here's a nice one for like, nutrition workshop, health related, different workshops, healthy food, skincare, some nice designs. So someone asks, do you auto post with Adobe Express? So with Adobe Express, any project that you work on gets auto saved, but it does not auto post for you, knowing that could cause trouble if you weren't ready to post something. So let me just open up one of my projects. So I go back to this project, Life is a Dream. Let me turn off the animation. Okay, so I'm back to this design. So once again, when you're done with your design, if you go up to the top right where it says download, the minute you click on that, you can choose from the different file types. So if it had animation, it would set MP4 as the top option. Here I can choose PNG, JPEG, or PDF. And then just so you know, when I hover over PDF, it says best for printing, highest quality. So PDF is what you would choose if you wanted to print this as opposed to post this to social. So it doesn't auto post, but you can download and then you can just upload it to that. Now it's also telling you right here, though, you can schedule your content to social media. So therefore you can click on that and you can schedule it, and you could schedule it for like, half an hour, and it would pretty much auto post for you on whatever social platforms you choose. So yes, you can schedule it, but it doesn't like automatically post as you finish a design, just in case you aren't ready to do that. But it's quite nice. A lot of great options. Is there any topic themes? I mean, I'm pretty happy with this though. Life is a Dream. Let me know if there's any more topics or themes. Okay. Maybe not. Okay, I know it's a Sunday, so people are in relaxed mode. So yeah, so I hope that gave a nice kind of little tour of Adobe Express, show some tips and tricks. And for those who are, new to it, a nice kind of overview of it. And for those who've been working with it but had some questions, hope that helped resolve some of those questions. So yes, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks so much, Sarah, for watching, being here. Thanks, my friends. And yes, as I always say, look for the top featured post. That's where the link to the recording will be, as well as go to my YouTube. So let me remind people there. Oh, there's a couple things though before I go. So remember that you can get to Express at Adobe Express at adobe.com/express or express.adobe.com. And then if you're interested, I can also post on the event pages and in the YouTube description. You can get an Adobe Express 30-day free trial. So you can try some of the premium options. I can post that on the event pages and the YouTube. And in general, please subscribe for more Adobe focused live streams and tutorials on my YouTube. That's youtube.com/digitalartdrew, or just type in the search Digital Art Drew. That's youtube.com digitalartdrew. Angela says, thanks. Thank you for being here, Angela. And you can also find me on Behance, behance.net, Drew Cav, and then Instagram, Digital Artist Drew. And please join my digital art and AI art group, facebook.com/groups, the digital art group, and my Photoshop and Lightroom group on Facebook, facebook.com/groups, Photoshop, Lightroom group. I believe the digital art and AI art group just passed 7,000 members today. And the Photoshop and Lightroom group is about to pass, or just did pass, 342,000 members. Pretty active groups. So come join, have some fun. Someone says hi as I'm about to end. Hello, goodbye. All right, so thanks everybody for joining. It was fun, and hope the little tips and tricks are helpful for you. Thank you. Keep your eye out on the top featured posts in the groups for more live events. Live event coming up midweek this week. So always keep your eye top featured posts. Thanks, everybody.